for this day that you gave to us.
Lieber himmlischer Vater, danke so sehr für diesen Tag, den du uns gegeben hast.
Lord, I thank you that we can lay down this day also before you with a word which is coming out from you.
Herr, ich danke, dass wir diesen Tag vor dir legen können, dieses Wort, die von dir kommt.
And I pray that you will lead Theodor.
Und ich bete, dass du Bruder Fjodor leitest.
And that you will also open our ears to hear and understand. Amen.
Und ich bitte, dass du unsere Ohren öffnest, dass wir hören und verstehen werden. In Jesu Namen. Amen.
Amen. Okay, I just want to add some thoughts to this morning.
So, ich möchte einige Gedanken zu dem Vortrag von heute Morgen hinzufügen.
We understand that 538 to 1798, that's the 1260, right?
Wir verstehen, dass 538 bis 1798 ist der 1260.
And what happened in 1798?
Und was geschah 1798? Deadly Wound.
You won't, right?
Tödliche Wunde.
We go to Revelation chapter 17.
Geht zum Offenbarung Kapitel 17.
Read verse 1.
Und lesen wir Vers 1.
Read verse 1 and 2.
Die Verse 1 und 2.
It says, And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So, what is the judgment that the whore receives?
So, was ist das Gericht, die Hure erhält? Seven last plagues, typified by the deadly wound.
It's seven last plagues, right, at the end of the world.
Am Ende der Welt ist die 7 letzten Plagen.
So the deadly wound that she received in 1798 is typifying the 7 last plagues.
So, die tödliche Wunde, die sie im 1798 erhielte, schattet die Gericht am Ende der Welt, die 7 letzten Plagen, die auf die Hure kommen.
So 7 plagues is the judgment that the world receives, right?
Die 7 Plagen, das ist das Gericht, die Hure erhält.
Okay, where was again this verse about forgot for 70 years?
Isaiah 23. Also,
That's
Isaiah
what
23.
we go to Isaiah 23 and read verse 14 to 17.
Isaiah 23, die Verse 14 bis 17.
Says here, How ye ships of Tarshish, for your strength is laid waste. And it shall come to pass on that day, that Tyre shall be forgotten 70 years, according to the days of one king. After the end of the 70 years shall Tyre sing as an harlot. Take an harp, go about the city, thou harlot that hast been forgotten. Make sweet melodies, sing many songs, that thou mayest be remembered. And it shall come to pass, after the end of 70 years, that the Lord will visit Tyre, and she shall turn to a hire, and shall commit fornication with all the kings of the world upon the face of the earth. So it says here about Tyre that she shall be forgotten for how long?
Über Tyros sagt es, sie wird vergessen wie lange?
70 years.
70 Jahre.
And what is she going to do at the end of the 70 years?
Und am Ende von diesen 70 Jahren, was wird sie tun?
Repeat what she did prior to that.
Yes, she's going to sing like an harlot as she has done before.
Kings of the earth.
Exactly how she has done before, correct?
Sie wird wie eine Hure singen, wie sie es zuvor getan hat.
So From 1798 you have the 70 years,
Und 1798 gibt es diese 70 Jahre.
and after the 70 years, the time period of the 1260, right, shall be repeated spiritually.
Nach der 70 Jahren, diese Zeitperiode der 1260 wird wiederholt, also geistlich gesprochen.
So, what do you have here?
So, was haben wir hier?
You have the 2 times of trouble with a little time of peace.
Exactly.
Das ist kleine Zeit, zwei Zeiten des Trübsals mit der kleinen Zeit des Friedens in der Mitte.
Okay, when is she gonna sing like a harlot?
Wann wird sie wie eine Hure singen?
At the Sunday law, right?
Sonntagsgesetz.
So at the Sunday law,
So, am Sonntagsgesetz.
that's where she's gonna sing like a harlot, well, till the final review if you go by this thread, right?
Da wird sie singen wie eine Hure bis zur finale Untersuchung.
Okay, so, but in between she's forgotten for 70 years.
Aber dazwischen wird sie 70 Jahre lang vergessen.
Okay, so if we keep our thoughts, here we might come back to this.
Also behalten wir unsere Gedanken hier. Wir kommen möglicherweise darauf zurück.
So if we go to Revelation chapter 13
Dann gehen wir vorerst zu Offenbarung 13.
and read verse 11.
Offenbarung 13 und Vers 11.
11 and 12.
Die Verse 11 und 12.
It says, and I beheld another beast come out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and spake as a dragon. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the beast, the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. So in 1798, what did the papacy receive?
So 1798, was erhielt den Papst?
The deadly wound, right?
Tödliche Wunde.
So right here
So gerade hier
is the deadly wound,
ist es der tödliche Wunde,
right? But then she's forgotten for
aber dann wird sie
70 years,
70 Jahre lang vergessen.
right? And then she's going to sing as a harlot again.
Und dann wird sie wie eine Hure ein weiteres Mal singen.
Yes, because it says that the beast that comes up, has these 2 horns like a lamb and speaks like a dragon, causes everybody to worship the beast whose deadly wound is healed. Yes?
Also dieses Tier, der heraufkommt mit 2 Hörnern wie ein Lamm und spricht wie eine Drache, der verursacht, dass die ganze Welt diesem Tier nachfolgt, dessen Wunde geheilt worden ist.
So who's that beast that causes to worship the beast whose deadly wound was healed?
Und wer ist dieses Tier, der verursacht, diesem Tier zu folgen, dessen Wunde geheilt worden ist?
The United States, right?
USA.
Okay, so what we see basically is that in 1798,
Das 1798, was wir sehen können,
that's when the beast out of the earth comes, right?
das ist, wo dieses Tier auf der Erde emporsteigt.
So in what time does this beast rise?
Prosperity and Peace.
Yes, you can read this in Great
Im
Controversy, right?
großen Kampf sagt, es ist eine Zeit von Frieden
So
und
it
Wohlstand.
comes up, and it comes up how?
Es kommt herauf und es kommt wie?
Like our
Like a
Peaceable.
lamb, right?
churches data separated.
Wie ein
Yes.
Lamm.
But it's going to speak like
Aber es wird sprechen wie ein
dragon.
Drachen.
And Sister White says, when is it that the United States is going to speak as a dragon?
Und wann wird der USA wie ein Drache sprechen?
As at the Sunday, right?
Am Sonntagsgesetz.
So it comes like a lamb and it speaks later like a dragon.
So, fängt an wie ein Lamm und spricht später wie eine Drache.
Okay, keep that in mind.
Behalten wir das im Vorfeld.
Okay. And what other symbol does Sister White, or what is another symbol that Sister White used to describe the upcoming of the United States?
Und was ist eine weitere Symbol, die Ellen White benutzt, um das Heraufkommen des USAs zu beschreiben?
Like a plant, right?
Wie eine Pflanze.
So from 1798 it's a plant and it's growing till it becomes what?
Also 1798 ist eine Pflanze und es wächst, bis es was wird?
This great tree.
A great tree,
Bis
right?
dieser große Baum wird.
And when it becomes this great tree and reaches its highest point, what does it become?
So, wenn es dieser große Baum wird und seine Gipfel erreicht hat, was wird es werden? Proud and cruel present.
Yes, fitly represented by the head of gold, she says, right?
Dargestellt, also zu Recht dargestellt durch das Kopf aus Gold. Es wird dieser Stolz und grausamer Unterdrücker
It
wird.
becomes the dragon,
Es wird der Drache.
right? Or it speaks like the dragon.
Oder es spricht wie der Drache.
Well, I mean, the dragon is the civil power, so I mean,
Yes.
it just exercises that.
Yes.
Also der Drachenmacht ist der Zivilmächte und
Okay.
es übt dessen aus.
Okay, what other symbol do we have represented by a tree? Or which other nation is represented by the tree?
Welche weitere Nation wird als Baum dargestellt?
You could
Egypt.
probably give me 3 answers. It's Babylon,
Yes. Also,
right?
Oh,
That's the answer that I wanted. You're correct,
okay, Egypt, Assyria, Babylon. Okay,
Ja.
Babylon ist die Antwort, die wir suchen.
right? Because all 3 are correct, but Babylon is the one that I was looking for.
Alle 3 Antworten sind richtig, aber es war bestimmt Babylon, die ich gesucht habe.
Okay, let's go to the upcoming of Babylon.
So, lasst uns zu das Heraufkommen von Babylon gehen.
Or let us first look at the purpose of Babylon.
Oder zuerst die Gesinnung oder die Besinnung, Absicht, Bestimmung Babylons. Gesinnung, war richtig?
What did I say?
Purpose.
The Zweck.
Zweck von Babylon. Okay.
Ja.
Was ist der
Zweck.
Zweck von
Oder die
Babylon?
Aufgabe, Bestimmung.
Bestimmung.
Alright, let's go to Daniel chapter 4.
Lass uns zu Daniel Kapitel 4 gehen.
And read verse verse 24 to 25.
So, die Verse 24, 25.
It says, this is the interpretation. Okay.
In German it's 21 to 22.
Okay. In Deutsch ist es 21 bis 22.
Thank you.
Danke.
It says, this is the interpretation, O king, and this is the decree of the Most High, which come up upon my Lord the king, that they shall drive thee from man, and thy dwelling shall be with the beast. Oh, sorry, that's not the right one. It was 20 and 21.
17 and 18.
17 und 18 im Deutschen.
Die Verse 17 und 18. I didn't hear you say anything, sorry.
No, it was verse 20 and 21.
Also, in Deutsch ist es 17 und 18.
It says, the tree that thou sawest, which grew and was strong, whose height reaches unto the heaven, and the side thereof to all the earth, whose leaves were fair, and the fruits thereof much, and in it was meat for all, under which the beasts of the field dwelt, and upon whose branches the fowls of the heaven had their habitation. So, Babylon is this great tree, correct?
Babylon ist dieser große Baum.
And what was the purpose of the tree?
Und was war der Absicht oder der Bestimmung, der Zweck der Baum?
Yeah, protection or shield for all the other nations.
Yes.
Also ein Schutz und Schild für alle Nationen.
It gave meat to the fowls, to the beasts, and a shadow, right?
Es hat Speise zu den Tieren und die Vogel und alles. Es hat sie Schatten gegeben.
So this was the purpose of Babylon.
Das
Right.
war der Zweck von Babylon.
Okay, so for how long was Babylon ruling?
Und wie lange hat Babylon geherrscht?
17 straight. Okay.
70 Jahre.
Keep that thought. Just draw another line here.
So, eine weitere Gedanke.
So you have Babylon for 70 years,
Babylon 70 Jahre lang.
right? And it was supposed to be a protection.
Und es sollte ein Schutz und ein Schild sein.
But what happened with Babylon?
Aber was geschah mit Babylon? lifted itself up in pride.
It became a cruel and proud oppressor, correct?
Es wird zur stolze und grausame Unterdrücker.
Okay, and at the end, you know, we understand at the end of the 70 years, that's when basically Babylon was brought down, you know, and overruled.
Und wir wissen, dass am Ende von den 70 Jahren, da ist Babylon niedergebracht und wurde überstimmt,
Okay,
umgestützt.
so if we go to Daniel chapter 7
Wenn wir zu Daniel Kapitel 7 gehen
and read verse 1 to 4.
und wir lesen die Verse 1 bis 4.
It says, in the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream, and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the son of the matter. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heavens strove upon the great sea. So what is striving upon the sea?
So, was strebt auf dem Meer?
The four winds,
Die
right?
4 Winde.
Okay, what are the four winds symbolizing?
Und was stellt die 4 Winde dar?
Seven last
Die
plagues,
7
right?
letzten Plagen, richtig?
Okay, so you see basically the seven last plagues,
Ja, wir können die 7 letzten Plagen hier sehen,
and, well, in type obviously, right?
im Typus natürlich.
And then Daniel sees four great beasts that come out of the sea.
Denn Daniel sieht diese 4 Tiere, die aus dem Meer emporsteigen.
And how is the first beast, what is this first beast?
Und was ist dieses erste Tier?
A lion, right?
Ein Löwe.
Okay, and who is this lion?
Und wer ist dieser Löwe? Thou, O King, alles
It's Babylon, right?
Babylon.
So Babylon comes up, right? And when it comes up, what is blowing over the sea?
So, als Babylon kommt herauf, was weht über den Meer?
This last bit, right?
Das
Four
sind die
winds.
7 letzten Plagen, die 4 Winde.
Four winds blowing, Babylon comes up, and Babylon reigns for 70 years.
4 Winde wehen und Babylon kommt herauf und sie regiert 70 Jahre lang.
Okay, let's read verse 4.
Vers 4.
It says, the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. So, what does the lion have?
Was
What
hat dieser
has
Löwe?
Wings.
Wings.
Flügel.
So, what does that mean?
Was heißt das? It's denying the natural, it must be spiritually understood.
That's what he's asking. What does it mean spiritual?
What does the wings represent?
Protection.
Protection. Right? Wings. When Christ spoke about Jerusalem, have I not gathered you under my wings, right?
Als Christus sprach über Jerusalem, habe ich dich nicht unter meine Flügeln
He
gesammelt.
says he gave her 2 wings like a great eagle that she might fly into the wilderness where she's nourished.
Yes. The woman that is flees in the wilderness, she gets wings.
Also die Frau in Offenbarung 12, die in die Wüste flüchtet, sie erhielt Adlerflügel.
What was the purpose of Babylon? What did we say?
Und was war der Zweck von Babylon? Was haben wir gesagt?
It was a place of captivity where God's people could give the gospel.
Protection.
It was protection for the nations,
Also
right?
ein Schutz und ein Schild vor die
Okay,
Nation.
so when it comes up, it is a protector, right? It's supposed to protect the nations, right?
Also als es heraufkommt, es soll ein Schutz sein, es soll die Nationen beschützen.
But what happens with the wings?
Aber was geschieht mit den
They
Flügeln?
get plucked.
Yes, it says, I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. So there comes a point where a man's heart is given to the lion, right?
Also, es kommt ein Punkt, wo ein Menschenherz diese Löwe gegeben wird.
And what point is this?
Und an welchem Punkt ist das?
The heart is deceitful above all things, desperately
Yes.
wicked. It says they demonstrate by their actions they have the heart of a dragon.
Yes. Okay, so you want
Also
to
der Herz ist verführerisch über alle Dinge, es ist böse durchaus und man erkennt sie, weil sie den Herz von einem Drachen haben.
So it means basically that he receives a dragon's heart, right? A man's heart is a dragon's heart.
Heißt, dass er den Herz von einer Drache erhalten hat.
And so, and what does he become then?
Und was wird er dann?
The oppressor.
A proud and cruel oppressor, right?
Stolz und grausamer
Dragon.
Unterdrücker. Ein
Okay,
Drache.
so there is a point where it comes up as a protector, right?
Es gibt einen Punkt, wo es heraufkommt als ein Beschützer.
And when the United States come up as a protector, how are they described?
Und als den USA als ein Beschützer heraufkommt, wie wird es beschrieben?
As a lamb, right?
Ein Lamm.
So Babylon comes up as a lamb,
Babylon kommt herauf als Lamm.
correct?
Amen?
Right? Because it's supposed to protect,
Weil es soll beschützen.
right? But there comes a point where it speaks as a dragon,
Aber es kommt ein Punkt, wo es wie eine Drache spricht.
right? And where it becomes proud,
Wo es
right?
stolz wird.
Okay, when was the point when Nebuchadnezzar became proud?
Und wann war der Punkt, wo Nebukadnezar stolz geworden ist?
When a tree reaches its height, right?
Wenn der Baum seinen Gipfel erreicht.
And it says, so when he reached the height of the of wealth and prosperity, right?
Also wenn er diese Gipfel von Wohlstand und Reichtum erreicht
He was the
hatte,
proud and cruel oppressor.
ist ein stolz und grausamer Unterdrücker
What did
geworden.
you say?
Up to the heavens, just like the Tower of Babel.
Yes.
Bis es zum Himmel erreichte, genauso wie den Turm Babels.
So, and when he became this proud and cruel oppressor, what happened with him?
Also dieser grausame und stolze Unterdrücker geworden ist, was ist mit ihm geschehen? Er ist brought down.
Well, the tree was brought down, right?
Also der Baum wurde niedergehauen.
Okay, so let's read.
After a warning.
Of course, after a warning.
So nach einer Warnung.
So let's read a quote
Lasst uns ein Zitat lesen.
from Prophets and Kings.
Das ist von Propheten und Könige.
Who's that one?
What is it? What's the reference? You know?
Prophets and Kings 533, paragraph 1.
Propheten und Könige 533.1.
Okay, everybody there?
Alle da?
It says, to the last ruler of Babylon, as in type to its first, had come the sentence of the divine watcher, O king, to thee it is spoken, the kingdom is departed from thee. What does it do here?
Was tut es hier?
What does what do?
Wow, the quote,
Was it
Sister
quote?
White, yes.
Was tut dieses Zitat?
She's paralleling the punishment on Belshazzar with the punishment of the statue being brought down.
Yes, the first ruler, Nebuchadnezzar, right, and the last ruler, which was Belshazzar,
Also
parallels these two thoughts, right?
der erste Regierender Nebukadnezar wird gleichgestellt mit Belzazar, der letzte Regierende von Babylon.
So, when was Belshazzar punished?
Und wann war Belzazar bestraft?
I mean, what do you mean?
At the
when?
end of
End
the
of the
70
70
years,
years.
right? After 70 years.
Also nach der 70 Jahren.
So right here,
So gerade hier.
right? Here he received the punishment, right?
Hier hat Belzazar den Bestrafung erhalten.
So, and Sister White, what she does, she takes the first,
Was Ellen White tut, sie nimmt diese erste,
right? And the last,
der erste und der letzte,
and she ties them together, both together,
bindet die beide zusammen.
right? And says, to both of them were spoken which words?
Sie sagt zu beide, welche Worte
The
wurden gesprochen.
kingdom is departed from thee.
The kingdom is departed from you.
Das Königreich ist von euch entwichen.
In Daniel chapter 4, right? She quotes.
Daniel Kapitel 4 zitiert sie.
So Belshazzar, that was punished, is who?
Also Belzazar, der bestraft worden ist wer? Ja, es
It's the tree that is cut down.
ist der Baum, der abgehauen wird.
So what I want you to say basically is that the tree grows and grows and grows, becomes a cruel oppressor, receives the warning, and then it's cut down because it doesn't heed the warning.
Also dieser Baum wächst und wächst und wächst und wird gewarnt und dann wird niedergehauen, weil es die Warnung nicht
Okay.
gehorcht.
Then Peter,
Aha.
when you put that pattern
Aha.
onto there, right?
Aha.
The Sunday law is the sixth seal, where the punishment should come, but then Christ says, hold, they got to get the warning first, right?
Yeah. All right. Yes. Now I'm not. I don't want to stick it in this box like this. I will explain myself
Okay.
as I go along. But you're right. So the only point I want to make is, you see a similarity between United States and Babylon, right?
Also,
Correct?
wir können eine Ähnlichkeit zwischen den USA und den Babylon erkennen.
We said that both come up as a lamb,
Beide
right?
kommen herauf als Lamm.
And both are this tree that grow and become the dragon.
Also beide sind dieser Baum, der wächst und wird zur Drache.
And then we see that Babylon, when it became this proud and cruel oppressor, this tree, was then cut down.
Dann können wir sehen, Babylon, als es diese stolz und grausame Unterdrücker geworden ist, es wird niedergehauen.
Okay, let's go to another quote.
Ein weiteres Zitat.
National rule, yes. So, let me post that before we read this. So, another fractal.
So eine weitere Fraktal.
We have 538 to 1798, right?
538 bis 1798.
Typifying what?
Schattet was?
Sign alert to the final review, right?
Sonntagsgesetz bis zur finale Untersuchung.
Bringing you to the little time of peace, right?
Bringt zur kleinen Zeit des Friedens hin.
Correct? And then you have again the Sunday law till the final review,
Und dann
right?
hat man weiterhin den Sonntagsgesetz bis zur finale Untersuchung.
So there's a parallel, right?
Das ist ein Parallel.
Okay, where do we understand no? Keep that thought. So
Behalte diese Gedanken.
let's read this quote.
Lass uns diese Zitat lesen.
Where are we?
In the live stream group.
BC 1109.2.
Says it was not at the hand of the priest that ran from the it was not the hand of the priest that ran from the top to the bottom the gorgeous veil that divided the holy from the most holy place. It was the hand of God when cried out, "It is finished." The holy watcher that was an unseen guest at Belshazzar's feast pronounced the Jewish nation to be a nation unchurched. The same hand that traced on the wall the character that recognized Belshazzar's doom, and the end of Babylon's kingdom rent the veil of the temple from the top to the bottom, opening a new and living way for all, high and low, rich and poor, Jew and Gentile, from when henceforth people might come to God without priest or ruler. Okay, where does she mark, or which two stories does she combine in here?
So, welche zwei Geschichten verbindet sie hier? Belshazzar's tomb and the cross.
Yes, but which point exactly?
Also
The ninth hour.
The ninth hour, right?
Also den Niederfall von Belshazzar und die 9. Stunde am Kreuz.
So,
bringt sie zusammen.
we said that the fall of Babylon, right, is the first, is basically the fall of Belshazzar and the fall of Nebuchadnezzar is at the same point, right? We said.
Der Sturz von Belshazzar und der Sturz von Nebukadnezar sind am gleichen Punkt.
And she marks it at the point where Christ said, "It is done."
Und sie markiert es am Punkt, wo Christus sagt, es ist vollbracht.
Okay, I have to gather my thoughts now.
Also ich muss meine Gedanken hier sammeln.
Okay. All right.
You get my point now?
No, I get your point. I'm not denying that point. I was just, I had some thoughts in my mind, you know, but maybe I missed some points. Right. Okay. So what we saw basically, that she says basically the punishment on Belshazzar was at the same point, like Christ said, it is done. Correct?
So, der Bestrafung aus Nebukadnezar und Belshazzar war am selben Zeitpunkt, wo Christus sagt, es ist vollbracht.
And which point is that?
Welchen Punkt ist das?
Which is the close of probation, right?
Die 9. Stunde, was der Schluss der Gnadenzeit.
So if we go by this fractal, where would we mark that?
So, wenn wir diese Fraktal benutzen, wo würden wir das markieren?
At the end, just to
At
keep
the
it
end,
simple.
right?
Am Ende,
So it would be this one here.
diese hier.
It is done.
Es ist vollbracht.
So, and then Babylon is punished,
Und
correct?
dann wird Babylon bestraft. Amen?
Yes.
Amen?
Okay, and how is Babylon being punished?
Und wie wird Babylon bestraft?
Yeah, for instance, the tree gets chopped down and 7 times fall upon him.
Zum Beispiel
Right.
der Baum wird abgehauen, 7 Zeiten kommt aus Nebukadnezar.
Okay. I get what you're doing.
No, this one basically, right? I think that this is just. Alright, just to make a point.
But when you get to, because she parallels the 70 years captivity with the 1260, right?
Also Ellen
Yes.
White stellt gleich die 70
This
Jahre
one.
mit der 1260.
Right. So,
So hier.
But I think that you wouldn't
You
take this
can't.
aspect of lamp and dragon in there.
no, you can't do that. That's
Yes,
the point I'm
yes.
making, right? So, it's teaching something different when she does that, right? It's just teaching a literal captivity in literal Babylon, teaching the spiritual captivity in spiritual Babylon, right?
So, das lehrt nur ein buchstäbliches Gefangenschaft in Babylon mit einer geistlichen Gefangenschaft in Babylon.
So, just like the papacy, right here in 1798 gets forgotten for 70 years, you've got this parallel with Babylon, which is a type of the United States,
Yes.
right?
So, genauso wie der Papst hier vergessen wird für 70 Jahre, man hat es hier Babylon auch ist.
Yes.
Babylon ist wo?
It's a parallel to the United States
For
Yes.
70 years.
for
Es
70
ist
years.
eine Parallel zu den USA für 70 Jahre.
Okay, so when you go to the book of education, she takes this point when he becomes a cruel and proud oppressor and marks it as the shaking of the earth.
So in der Buch
Which is the
Erziehung, diese stolz und grausame Erdrücker, sie markiert das als die Erschütterung der Erde, was das Sonntagsgesetz
So
war.
when you take that illustration, you put it in there from the time of the end in 1790 to the time to the Sunday law, where he becomes
Cruel and
cruel and
proud
proud
oppressor. Yes.
oppressor, right?
So, wenn du dies hier nimmst und du tust es hier hinein,
Now,
bis zu dem Punkt, wo ein stolzer und grausamer Unterdrücker wird.
but if you were to take it in literal history, that point at the end would mark the punish where Babylon gets punished, right?
Und wenn du das in der Geschichte nehmen würdest, dieser Punkt am Ende würde es markieren, wo Babylon bestraft wird,
Which would be the Sunday law.
was das Sonntagsgesetz wird.
So we have this illustration, when the Sunday law comes, the Lord says, right, that's it, you're going to get punished. But Christ says, hold, and he allows a warning to come before the punishment comes. So now you get all these stories and you lay them in this box, right?
So, wenn der Sonntagsgesetz kommt, normalerweise soll die Bestrafung kommen, aber Christus sagt, halt, bis die Diener Gottes gesiegelt werden. And from that point on, I wasn't sure what you said.
And then you take all the stories and put it in there.
All the stories from Daniel, And they're all laid in the Sunday law to the final review
Also
after the
dann-
70 years.
Kann man den ganzen Geschichten von Daniel und hier reinlegen, von Sonntagsgesetz bis zur finale Untersuchung.
I have my thoughts back again.
Okay, because if you were to take that illustration and place it,
No, I didn't plan to do that.
oh, okay, but I'm just saying that if you were, you would be saying in the Sunday law, you're nice.
Yeah, it's like a lamp which can't be.
And it can't be.
So, wenn wir diese Darstellung nehmen würden und hier drauflegen würden, dann würden wir quasi sagen, am Sonntagsgesetz, wo der USA ein grausamer und stolzer Unterdrücker ist, wird wie ein Lamm sein. Und das kann nicht sein.
But I definitely have my thoughts because I wanted to show two different things. You want to say
I just
something?
wanted to add what Mark said, in the sense, that's why you can then show that the dreams
Mhm.
come all there at the Sunday law, because it's
Mhm.
now where the Lord now sends the warning.
Deswegen
Yes.
kannst du zeigen,
Yes.
dass all diese Träume hier am Sonntagsgesetz kommen, weil da ist, wo Gott der Warnung sendet.
Okay, so now I have my thoughts back. The point I wanted to show with this one, right?
So, die Gedanke oder der Punkt, den ich hiermit zeigen
The
wollte,
Babylon begins as a lamb, becomes a dragon,
Babylon fängt an als Lamm und endet als eine Drache.
and what the point that I wanted to see is that it's for 70 years.
Der Punkt, den ich wollte, dass ihr seht, ist, dass es für 70 Jahre lang ist.
Because the fall of Babylon, right, is tied, so I ties it together with the fall of the tree.
Denn der Sturz Babylon, Ellen White bindet das mit der Fall von diesem Baum zusammen.
So the only thing I want you to see is that from lamb to dragon, it says that Babylon takes 70 years.
Das Einzige, was ich möchte, dass ihr seht, ist, dass von Lamm zur Drache Babylon dauert 70 Jahre.
And that it begins with the four winds.
Das fängt an mit den 4 Winden.
Because it says like, at least in the principle, you see that at the beginning you have the four winds blowing, you know, and Babylon comes up, right, and rules now for 70 years.
Dass die 4 Winde wehen, Babylon kommt herauf und es regiert 70 Jahre.
And you have this same thing here, you have 7 last plagues, which is the 4 winds.
Das ist dasselbe Darstellung hier, 7 letzten Plagen, was auch die 4 Winde da sind.
Right, but then the United States comes up, you know, and reigns for 70 years
Und dann kommt in den
till it
USA
speaks like a
auf
dragon.
und regiert für 70 Jahre, bis es spricht wie eine Drache.
Yes, God is demonstrating the end by the beginning, right?
Yes, correct.
Und
So-
Gott zeigt das Ende vom Anfang her.
Yes.
So you can show, this is what the point I was making, right? From 1798 to the Sunday law, which is 1844.
Mhm.
Man kann zeigen von 1798 bis zum Sonntagsgesetz, was auch 1844 ist,
Is it 1260?
ist eine 1260.
It's a 70.
Es ist eine 70.
It's a 40.
Es ist eine 40.
Yes.
But it's all done in peace.
Aber es ist alles in eine Zeit des Friedens getan.
Well, pretended to be peace.
Yes, but nonetheless, you have freedom to go forward and
Yes.
preach that gospel.
Also vorgegeben als Frieden, aber nichtsdestotrotz, wir oder Gottes Volk haben die Freiheit, in diese Zeit des Friedens voranzugehen und diese Warnung oder die Evangelium zu geben.
Correct. So, if we now go to Daniel chapter 1,
Also wenn wir jetzt zu Daniel Kapitel 1 gehen,
we read about the beginning of the 70 years, correct?
wir können über den Anfang von 70 Jahren lesen.
And read verse 1.
Lesen wir Vers 1.
It says, in the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem and besieged it. What happens here?
Was geschieht hier? So,
Jerusalem is besieged, right?
Jerusalem wird umzingelt.
So, it's the same siege that you can read in Luke 21,
Das
correct?
ist dieselbe Belagerung, die man in Lukas 21 lesen kann.
This is Sunday law, correct?
Sonntags.
Because it says this.
Das ist Sestis.
So you have, they are besieged, and where does Nebuchadnezzar bring them?
Also die werden belagert und wo bringt Nebukadnezar sie hin?
Into Babylon.
To Babylon, right?
Ins Babylon.
For how long?
Wie lange?
70 years, right?
70 Jahre.
Okay, so for 70 years they are in Babylon,
So 70 Jahre lang sind sie in Babylon.
right? And at the end, who comes and delivers them?
Und am Ende, wer kommt und befreit sie?
Cyrus, right?
Kyros.
So you have Cyrus coming, which we lined up with this waymark, right?
Kyros, der kommt und das ist diese Wegmarke hier
And he's delivering them, right?
und er befreit sie.
So who was Cyrus?
So wer war Kyros? Anointed.
Medo-Persian king, right?
Also Medo-persisches König.
Okay, so we already established that right here at this point,
Also wir haben bereits etabliert, dass gerade hier an diesem Punkt
Babylon is punished, correct?
Babylon wird bestraft.
Yes, because 1798 you see the fall of Babylon.
So 1798, wir können den Sturz von Babylon
Oh.
sehen.
Church and state get separated.
Uh-huh.
So
Yes.
Staat und Kirche werden getrennt.
Because we saw already at the Sunday law,
Und wir haben
This
bereits
box, right?
gesehen, am Sonntagsgesetz, also dieses Kasten,
which is the same box as this box,
das dasselbe wie diese hier ist.
what does Nebuchadnezzar become?
Was wird Nebukadnezar werden?
A proud and cruel oppressor.
Ein stolz und grausamer Unterdrücker.
Can I just make a point? That there's a nice quote that I found today that marks when
No, that's okay.
it marks when basically it calls France after the revolution a country that was by the people, for the people,
Was of the people.
by the people, for the people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the United States, right?
Yes.
And it was saying that after the French Revolution, Napoleon, he was the one that rose up out of this, right? He's this king that comes up and says, no, we don't want this church and state thing anymore, right? We want, he became a king,
Yes.
right? But he became a cruel and proud oppressor,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it shows the exact same thing. He came up and claimed
Mm-hmm.
that they were going to get liberty now, right? They wanted this liberty to be like a little United States.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying they're copying them, but that's what they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And he became a cruel and proud oppressor. So it shows the exact same thing there. When
Mm-hmm.
he rises up out of the 1260,
Mm-hmm. Comes up here.
yeah, but he ends up becoming this exact, because it's two horns it has, right? When it rises up against it,
Mm-hmm.
it's shown it's got the same spirit, the same characteristics,
Mm-hmm.
and it just manifests it later on.
So Napoleon, right?
No,
Okay.
how did you start that? After what?
The 1260, because Napoleon comes up at the end.
So nach der 1260, wo hier Napoleon aufgekommen ist,
The people.
der hat einen Staat so geführt, es war sozusagen von das Volk, für das Volk, bei das Volk. Und Napoleon ist letztendlich, der hat sie begiert mit so dieses Freiheit, des Landes Freiheit, aber im Grunde ist er zu einem stolzer und grausamer Unterdrücker geworden.
Yes.
Und das ist auch eine zweihörnige Macht, genauso wie den USA.
Well, because in Revelation 11, right, it talks about France, where Napoleon was the
Yes.
head of basically this rebellion. He was Sodom in Egypt, the two horned horse.
Also in Offenbarung 11, es zeigt, dass Napoleon der Anführer von diesen Nationen war, zweihörnige Macht, also Sodom und Ägypten.
Was it Napoleon that wanted to make that?
But
The
Napoleon
people
was
wanted.
the king basically.
They
over-
pushed for him to be king, but as always, the men let them down. But the people wanted this
Also
control.
die Menschen, also die Bevölkerung wollten diese Macht.
Okay, so what we see basically is that when you deal with the 70 years of Babylon,
Was wir sehen können, ist, wenn wir mit diese 70 Jahre von Babylon ansehen,
you always need to apply it based on context, right?
wir müssen das immer im Kontext anwenden.
So in one time you see it's a parallel to the 70 years where their purpose is to what's the name? To uphold and support the nations.
So in einer Darstellung kann man sehen, dass deren Zweck ist hier, um die Nationen zu beschützen und ja, zu stärken.
Right? But in another sense, and at the end, he becomes a cruel and proud oppressor.
Und am Ende wird er eine grausame und stolze Unterdrücker.
So, and this marks the Sunday law.
Und das markiert das
So if you
Sonntagsgesetz.
take this Sunday law and put it here, because this is the same like here,
So, wenn
right?
wir dieses Sonntagsgesetz hier runterbringen, dann ist es dasselbe.
We go to Daniel chapter 1 and it marks the beginning of the 70 years,
Wir gehen zum Daniel Kapitel 1 und es markiert das Anfang von 70 Jahren,
where they go into captivity.
wo sie in Gefangenschaft hineingehen.
And according to Jeremiah 51, it says that Nebuchadnezzar was oppressing God's people.
Und gemäß Jeremia 51, es sagt, dass Nebukadnezar hat Gottes Volk unterdrückt.
You can show that the Sunday law is the time of the end, right?
Yeah.
So just put 1260 before it.
So der Sonntagsgesetz ist der Zeit des Endes, also man kann so ein 1260 davor machen.
Then you have the same illustration, right?
Da hast du derselbe Darstellung.
Okay.
Get my
Yes. It's just this. Just it's shifted. It makes this 70 years to the oppression and this one to the.
Yeah, the time, the darkness leading up to the time of the end. Yes?
Yes.
Yes, also es macht das und das.
Right, it just changes the symbol of the 70 from a little time of peace to a time of oppression.
So, er verändert diese 70 von einer kleinen Zeit des Friedens zu einer Zeit der Unterdrückung.
Right. So, and at the end of the 70 years, you see Cyrus who comes and he delivers them.
Und am Ende von den 70 Jahren, man sieht Kyros, der kommt und sie befreit.
But these 70 years are the 70 years where they're in captivity, right?
Und diese 70 Jahre sind die 70 Jahre, wo sie in Gefangenschaft sind.
This 70 years are the 70 years where they are what?
Und diese 70 Jahre
What 70 years?
sind die 70 Jahre, wo was?
It's the 70 years pronounced upon Babylon.
Das sind
Right.
70 Jahre, die über Babylon bestimmt
Because
sind.
the point where Cyrus came basically and set them free literally was not the same point where Babylon fell.
Denn der Zeit, wo Kyros gekommen ist und sie befreit hat, ist nicht derselbe Zeitpunkt, wo Babylon gefallen ist.
But it's still the same point that at the end, teaches you the same truth that at the end of the 70, Cyrus comes and delivers.
Aber es lehrt dennoch dasselbe Wahrheit, dass am Ende von den 70 Kyros kommt und befreit.
Because if you put them together, at the end of one 70 years, he punishes Babylon. At the end of the other 70 years, he sets them free, and you need to put them together.
So am Ende von 71 Jahren, er bestraft Babylon und am Ende von den anderen 70 Jahren, er befreit sie und man muss sie zusammentun. You mean 536 und 538? Okay, 536 der Ende der 71 und 538 der Ende des anderen 70.
You want to say something?
No, I get it, but you're jumping around all over the place.
Yes.
Yeah, like I said, I try to bring somehow harmony into it, but the point where I lose the thought about that's where I messed up. But doesn't matter.
The main point to understand, right,
Yeah.
is the Alpha and Omega. God demonstrates the end by the beginning.
Also der Hauptpunkt, den man bemerken muss, ist, dass Gott der Alpha und der Omega ist, der zeigt das Ende vom Anfang her.
It's this dividing this waymark, right?
Yes.
Diese Wegmarke spalten.
It's understanding what happens when you get to the end here. Is it this that's been marked, or is it the end? Is it this side of the waymark that's been marked, or is it this side of the
Man muss
waymark?
verstehen, wenn man zum Wegmarke ankommt, ist das nun das Ende oder ist es der Anfang? Ist es diesseits der Wegmarke oder jenseits der Wegmarke, die man je nachdem was verstehen muss?
Alright. Yes. So, and just at the end, basically, of the 70 years,
Und am Ende der 70 Jahre,
what comes upon Nebuchadnezzar?
was kommt auf Nebukadnezar?
7 times, right?
7 Zeiten.
Which is the 7 plagues in
Die
time,
7
right?
letzten Plagen sind im Typus.
So 7 times, which is 7 plagues.
7 Zeiten, was 7 Plagen sind.
Okay. Did anybody follow what I wanted to say?
Überhaupt jemand nicht folgen können, was ich sagen wollte?
I mean, except of you two.
Teilweise.
Yeah? No? Now is your chance to say no. Okay. Let me just summarize, and I'm not going to confuse you more. I have more thoughts, but I just make a summary, and then I think for today it's fine.
So, lasst mich einfach mal eine Zusammenfassung machen.
So, symbols can have more than one application,
Also
right?
Symbole können mehr als eine Anwendung haben.
So, based upon context, you always to determine what the symbol is teaching you.
So basierend auf dem Kontext, man muss bestimmen, was diese bestimmte Symbol in diesem Fall lehrt.
Right? Sister White says that the 1260 and the 70 years in Babylon, they are parallel.
So Ellen White sagt, dass die 1260 und die 70 Jahre in Babylon, die sind ein Parallel.
Right? So if the 1260 is typifying the Sunday law, then the 70 is typifying the Sunday law,
Wenn die
correct?
1260 der Sonntagsgesetzkrise vorausschattet, dann so auch der 70.
Right? At the end of 70, you see Babylon being punished. At the end of the 1260, you see Babylon being punished.
Am Ende von den 70, du kannst sehen, dass Babylon bestraft wird. So wie am Ende der 1260 können wir sehen, dass das Babylon bestraft.
Right, and as we have established that the cutting off of the tree and the punishment of Belshazzar is spiritually teaching you the same point.
Und wir haben gesehen, dass der Sturz der Baum und der Fall von Belshazzar lehrt uns denselben Punkt.
I think where you've got confused yourself, is taking that illustration there and mixing it with the punishment at the end.
Yes, that's why.
Because just got to
right.
come back a little bit. So you've established that the 1260 to 70 parallel, and nobody would
Also
argue.
wir haben etabliert, dass die 1260 an die 70 Jahren parallel ist und das steht.
At the end of the 1260, Tyre gets forgotten for 70 years, so you now have this time of peace.
Ende von 1260, Tyros wird vergessen 70 Jahre, deswegen haben wir diese Zeit des Friedens.
Now, when you take the 70 years of Babylon, you can just take it and it'll teach something different, right?
Wenn du 70 Jahre von Babylon nimmst, du kannst es nehmen, es wird was anderes lehren.
Okay, so it's meant to build and uphold a nation, and so now you've got Babylon present, and now Babylon's marking this point where it comes up like a little lamb, and it's peaceful until the end, right?
So, du hast diese Zeit, wo Babylon unterdrückt, und dann gibt es diese Zeit, wo Babylon wie eine Lamm heraufkommt bis zur Ende.
And it becomes a cruel and proud
Und
oppressor.
es wird ein stolz und grausamer Unterdrücker.
And you just need to stick it, that end it there, because when he becomes a cruel and proud oppressor, Sister White marks it at the Sunday law, but you try to put in there, that's where he gets brought down. And that's where the issue
No,
gets
yeah,
confused.
but that's why I try to correct myself.
Yes.
Also wenn er ein grausamer und stolzer Unterdrücker ist, Ellen White markiert das als das Sonntagsgesetz. Aber wo wir hier vielleicht falsch gegangen ist, ist, dass wir hier auch markiert ist, wo Babylon zu Stürze oder wo Nebukadnezar oder der Baum zu Stürze gebracht wird.
The reason why I went that line is because I needed to tie the punishment after the end of the 70 years together with the point where the tree was brought down. Right? Because the tree grows, becomes a cruel and proud oppressor at the same point where Babylon being brought down, she ties it together, which is the end of the 70. That's the only point I wanted to make.
But I get your points.
Yes.
Also was ich versucht habe, ist dieser Punkt, wo ein grausamer und stolzer Unterdrücker ist, ist auch gleich der Punkt, wo der Baum zur Stürze gebracht
And
wird.
the only reason I did it is because I needed to have the punishment of the tree marked basically spiritually at the end of the 70.
Und ich habe das so gemacht, weil diese Bestrafung der Baum ist am Ende der 70 zu markieren, geistlich gesehen.
Maybe next time you can just draw a separate line
Yes.
and you can parallel the line, but
Yeah,
you
do
know,
it like
if you have both illustration in one line, then
Yes.
it's maybe confusing. But if you have two lines, you can just say, okay, this is now teaching this, and this is teaching this,
Yes.
and then you can just place them.
Yes.
Also vielleicht können wir das zwei Linien aufzeichnen und der eine lehrt diese Wahrheit und der andere diese andere Wahrheit. Das würde dann mehr Sinn machen.
Alright. Yes. So basically, like we said, one times it's illustrating the 70 years bringing you down to a punishment where you receive 7 times, like the 7 plagues in 1798.
So eine Darstellung ist diese 70, der bringt zu einem Punkt, wo du bestraft wirst, diese 7 Zeiten oder diesen 7 Plagen wie in 1798.
Right, and on the other hand, it's 70 years where you have peace and prosperity. So to
Und
say.
der andere Darstellung ist diese 70 Jahre, wo du Wohlstand und Frieden hast.
I'm gonna try to correct it in the next study.
Und in der nächsten Vortrag werde ich versuchen, das alles ins Rechten zu bringen.
Shall we pray?
Sollen wir beten?